All right, somebody let me know if it's 4:30. Give me a thumbs up, is it? My phone is in the car, so I don't have it. Okie dokie. Okay, everybody, welcome to our first meeting of the Public Art Commission in 2024. And a lot of things are new. We are in a new department. We're welcoming a new commissioner. Everything is new. So good luck to us, to all of us. All right. Roll call.
Since we're using, just want to call who's here.
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Stan here.
Commissioner Paul Velasco.
Commissioner Vargas.
Commissioner Rogers.
Commissioner Velasco. Okay. Pardon me? We're going to be late because of her work.
Okay.
We have, first thing on the agenda is oral communication. If anybody wants to come forward or has field. Do we have anyone? No? Okay. So, approval of the minutes for the November 13th. Hope everybody had a chance to see it. I was absent. So, are there any changes to the minutes? No?
I didn't see any changes. I approve.
So, do we need a motion? Okay.
Yeah,
So, Patricia?
Yes, I make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Second?
I second.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to practice the voting.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go here?
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open the voting, and you guys should all have your screens refresh. Yep. And then if you click refresh, you should.
It says refresh mine. Do I need to?
Oh, here we go. Is that already out there? Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
So then
And so they see it. This is like a new toy for us, so give us a where do we see the,
So once you guys all, I can see on my side, like I can see you voted, I'm still
But-
waiting for Commissioner Vargas, okay?
so is everybody done?
No, I'm waiting for Commissioner Ryan. Did you guys let me, submit. Yeah, submit, and then, which is perfect, and then.
So do we get to see that?
Yeah, so it's, and so now if I hit, since Natalie's gone.
They,
Oh, did you not? Oh, Commissioner Ryan should have gone through. So let me did it. Yep. Now it says refresh. So I'm going to do that on my end.
oh, here, okay, not here, but here. But I don't see it. It was there for, we only saw it for like a second, okay.
The one still, yep. So you see everybody and then Natalie's gone. So it was approved 5-0 and then,
Really?
She's talking.
then, no, 1 no, or sorry, approved 5-1, no, project.
Feeling negative today.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so this is the way it's gonna look.
And then it just is grayed out because Commissioner Martinez is gone. If she comes in the meeting, it's fine. I actually marked her out, so she'll show up when she comes in.
Alrighty. Okay, so move on. New business. So we have staff introductions, and I believe Jennifer will be doing that. Jennifer Shanek, Director of Economic Development. So Jennifer.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. With today's meeting, as Commissioner Velasco said, there's a lot of change and a lot of new things to consider in this new year. And one of the biggest changes for this commission is that I'm your new staff liaison. I'm the Director of Economic Development, and under my portfolio is also Community Services, which includes the Public Art Commission. So I will be working with you to implement a process, help you review art, and your day-to-day contact will be Robert Rhodes and also Sandra. So I'll turn the mic over to Robert to introduce himself.
Jennifer, can I add that we can ask questions at the end of each of these presentations, right?
Absolutely.
If you have any.
I'll stand up here and make it easier. How about that? There we go. Well, good afternoon. It's so nice to meet all of you. I've met some of you already. It's nice to meet you now. My name is Robert Rose. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Services. I was promoted into the position about a month and a half ago, so there's a lot of learning that I have going on right now. Just to give you a little bit of history and background of me, I've been in recreation for over 35 years. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from Cal State East Bay in recreation, tourism, and hospitality management. I've been working for the city of Escondido cumulatively for about 20 years. This last stint, I've been with them for about 9 years currently. So I know a lot about the city. I know all the people to talk to. And in fact, Sandra is one of those people that's going to be incredible and amazing, and I'm so happy that I was involved in the process to hire her to be an administrative coordinator. So, Sandra.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to see a lot of faces. I know you've been seeing a lot of emails from me. So I'm Sandra Aguilar. I'm the Administrative Coordinator for Community Services. I have my bachelor's from Cal State San Marcos, and I do have an associate's in photography, so I thought I'd throw that fun fact in. I do enjoy art, and I'm an art lover myself. I have been working for Community Services for about 6 years now, and I'm just assisting Jennifer and Robert with anything they might need, any of the agreements and financials, actually getting those checks paid out. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Okay, so that's staff introductions. Process review. So this is going to be the one you're going to be taking some time. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Jennifer Shenek, Director of Economic Development, and today we will be reviewing the processes around the Art Commission. Many of these you will already be well familiar with, but because it's a new year, you have new staff, it's a good time to make sure that we are following the right procedures, and also that you know we are here to support you as staff, so that you can have the freedom to make those directional choices so that you can fund art here in our great city. So really in this presentation, we'll be reviewing the following things. So one, I want to show you the municipal code that really governs the Public Art Commission. We'll talk about the intent and purpose as it's listed in the code. Also, we'll look at the administrative duties of the Public Art Commission. It's a good refresher for all of us. We'll talk about proper procedures for these meetings, including public notice and the agenda. We'll talk about the requirements for subcommittees as well. I'll talk about staff responsibilities that you can hold us to, as well as get your feedback on the art project proposal process that we need to develop together. And I'll end with marketing and promotions and get your feedback. So I'll kind of go through these things, and we'll have time for questions at the end and also your feedback as well. So there is a lot of text, but I really wanted to emphasize the intent of why the Public Art Commission was created in the 1980s. The intent was to create a program designed to promote art, the arts, in public places. It is intended that artwork be installed throughout the neighborhoods of Escondido and be a source of pride to the residents of the city and the community life. The Public Art Partnership Program, as it's called in our code, will provide art education and experiences which will enhance economic vitality, commemorate local values, history, and progress, as well as develop community pride and identity, and improve the general welfare and quality of life in the city. The program will promote partnerships between businesses, local government, and private citizens, and thereby encourage awareness and enjoyment of art experiences. An increase in the quantity and quality of distinguished works of art will improve and expand the use and value of public buildings and facilities and enhance the urban development and the community. So that's a mouthful, but it's really beautiful, and I think it is relevant to what we're working on today. A lot of this we fulfill, but I think there's some work to do to really get to the intent that was created here. So let's talk about administrative duties. So these are listed in the code, as duties of the commission and staff, so we're here to support you in this, to really fulfill this intent. So it's 2 slides, but I am going to read through it so we're all on the same page. First is to review, select, and approve artwork proposed within the Public Art Partnership Program, which is what we're doing here. 2, to devise methods of selecting and commissioning artists with respect to the design, execution, placement of the art in public places, and to advise the City Council on the selection and commissioning of artists for such purposes. I think we have some work to do there. Advise the City of matters pertaining to the quality, quantity, scope, and style of art in public places. We'll get more to that when we finalize our public art master plan, and I'll talk about that later on the agenda. To advise the city regarding the amount of percent for art fund to be expended on specific art projects. So the money we have is from development impact fees. You advise on how much money should go to specific art projects based on the amount of money that was put in by developers. To review and maintain an inventory of art in public places and advise the city on matters pertaining to the maintenance, placement, alteration, sale, transfer, ownership, and acceptance or refusal of donations, and other matters pertaining to art in public places. And the city is also working on a donation policy, which I think will be relevant to this committee as well, because sometimes people do want to donate art to the city, and there's a place for you to be in that conversation. To recommend the retention of consultants to assist the city in making decisions concerning the Public Art Partnership Program, such as the consultant we have for the Public Art Master Plan. To advise and assist private property owners regarding the selection and installation of works of art to be located on private property in public view. And this is a really important distinction. In the code, it does say that public art is also considered art on private property in public view. And that's something we'll need to work on and discuss moving forward. To act as a liaison between artists and private property owners desiring to install works of art on private property in public view. To establish and maintain an inventory of meritorious works of art in public view and give recognition to the artist and the donor. To endeavor to preserve works of art in the public view deemed to be meritorious by the Public Art Partnership Panel, which is the Public Art Commission, through agreements with property owners and the artists. To seek grants, donations, gifts, and other funding methods for works of art in public places, and to educate, edify, and generally inform the public about art. And that is a really fun one that I think we could do a lot of interesting things with. Yeah. Yes. Commissioner Paul.
Question about H.
Yes.
So does H mean that one of us or several of us are involved if an artist wants to approach a store owner about a wall?
So this relates to if there is a project on private property, they can bring the project here for review and consideration and input.
Okay.
Can we as art commissioners go out and speak to building owners about potential artwork?
Yeah, as individuals, you may do as you choose, but decisions need to be made in public here at the Public Art Commission.
And I had a question also. Let's see, if you go back to A,
Yes.
it says review, let's see, advise, all the other ones say, but to review and select and approve artwork. Would that be, are we an advisory committee, or are we review and select?
Review, select, and approve.
Okay, and that is for all art or for murals?
But we're funding.
All art. Yep, public art. It could, if there is a laser light show that comes into town and says we would like funding for our laser art show at night, that could be public art.
Okay, but does it have to go to the city council, or we can make that
You can make the
decision here?
approval. You're the governing body to approve financial decisions to fund works of art.
Financial decisions. Okay.
What we have been doing, basically.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other one was, I like this one, E, to review and maintain an inventory of art in public places, because I think that's one place that we have been really stretching and wanting to repair things. And, you know, my feeling is we need to take care of what we have before we move on. So that's exciting. Thank you.
Definitely, of course.
Could you please distinguish between the Appearance Committee and Public Arts? Where is the dividing line between them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Appearance Committee is a staff-led committee where city staff members review potential art pieces to provide input on different considerations. So, for example, Public Works team may provide input on what it would take to maintain that art. Or police department might provide input on crime rates in the area or theft. So it's a place for city staff to just provide additional input and consideration to add to the narrative for the art proposals. And I think moving forward, and something I'll talk about later in this presentation as we move forward on the slides, is what kind of process are we going to create moving forward to do a call for artists so that there is an application and a process to review art and then bring that art forward to the commission for final approval.
And quickly, who forms that appearance committee? Who is part of that?
So the appearance committee is a city staff committee that has individuals from different departments throughout the city.
You said police?
I need to double check all of the attendees, but we have economic development, planning, environmental, public works. I believe a representative from the police department is there. So we can get you a full list if you'd like, but it's for all city department input.
Okay.
So for meetings and subcommittee meetings, all meetings must be publicly noticed, both the Public Art Commission meeting and the subcommittees. Items suggested for the agenda on either the Public Art Commission meeting or subcommittee can be added to a future agenda on the future agenda section of every meeting. And then any item related to funding must be published in the local paper. So this is an item where we have room for improvement. So according to our code and the law that's established today, if there is any art piece up for public art funding consideration, it must have been published in the local paper prior to it coming to the Art Commission so that there's an opportunity for the public to be noticed about the art and then come to participate in addition to it being on our website as a notice. So that's an area that we can improve when we talk about the process and the application process for art. Subcommittees consist of 2 to 3 art commissioners, and they must have city staff present and must be publicly noticed also. And then subcommittees serve as an advisory to the Public Art Commission. So very similar to the way City Council works. So City Council has their subcommittees, and those subcommittees to City Council are advisory. So in the subcommittees, they review information and then they can come back to the City Council and say, at the recommendation of this committee, we are proposing this. For example, there is an economic development subcommittee. We bring policy to them. There's a short-term rental ordinance for vacation rentals in town. So that is going through the economic development subcommittee. It will go to the planning commission. And then the economic development subcommittee will recommend that new code to the city council. So in a similar way, your subcommittees can review applications and make recommendation to the entire Public Art Commission for final voting.
Question. So because we've been having, and now we found out we haven't been doing correctly, right? So the new thing is it's going to be public, but can that subcommittee at some point have a closed session to review stuff, or does it always have to be open?
So
to the
the
public?
subcommittees always have to be open to the public. Private matters are allowed to be in closed session for city council if it has to do with negotiations. We can check with the city clerk if there is a closed session for the Public Arts Commission.
For example, the policy, the mural policy, we worked on it for a couple of years and it was approved by the city council, but we see that as we have been working on this for a while, that there's some loopholes that need to be. So would that be open to the public, or can we? Okay.
Yes.
Very specific regulations and rules, like there's really specific rules and regulations, like of what can be discussed in closed session, which is like real estate negotiations. This is not what.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear you.
you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, there's regulations and requirements of what can be in closed session. They're really specific. So it's, real estate negotiations or labor negotiations. So everything that you guys discuss has to be in a public forum, a public meeting.
And we can add it to the agenda. So for example, if there was a municipal code update that you wanted to implement, we could put that on the agenda, and city staff can do a presentation that summarizes the code and the feedback you've given. For example, let's say we want to change X, Y, or Z. Then we would come to you with the code, the proposed changes that you said, and then together in a public forum, you can have a discussion on what you would like to change.
Or add. In
Correct.
this case, it is addition, yeah. All right.
So then, because subcommittee communications have to be public, we cannot discuss things via email, telephone,
Correct.
as a committee.
Correct. That would be a violation of the Brown Act. So as under the Brown Act, decisions have to be made in a public forum. And so you also can't do a phone tree, for example. So if Commissioner Rogers calls Commissioner Martinez and they talk and kind of come up with a solution, and then Commissioner Martinez calls Commissioner Vargas and does the same thing, that's an example of a violation of the Brown Act. So if two of you have coffee, then two more of you have coffee, then we just have to be careful that all the decisions that you're making are happening in a public forum.
But we can meet 3 out of 7.
Correct, in a designated subcommittee that's publicly noticed. Mhm. And then city staff responsibility. So we're here to provide these reminders to make sure that we're all complying with the law and to make sure that it's a fair and equitable process every time. So our first duty is to ensure conformance with state and local law. Also, we create and post agendas with supplemental materials. As you saw today, it was quite a robust packet. It probably won't be that robust maybe in the future, who knows. But that's our job, to make sure that we're giving you the information ahead of the meeting so that you have time to review it and look through things, and then you can be prepared to ask questions, or between the time you receive the packet and this meeting, you can also call us and ask additional questions too.
Mm-hmm.
And then we create and execute legal and financial agreements. So we work with the city attorney's office to update any contracts that we have with artists and make sure that they are being signed so that we can follow through on our financial obligations to artists. And we can create and update municipal code for city council approval. So if there is code you'd like to change, we can work through this and then bring it to city council at your recommendation. And then we report to the Public Art Commission and subcommittees on the progress of contracts and projects. So if you vote to approve something, then it's our job as city staff to make sure the contracts are signed, checks are sent, it's actually being completed, and to update you on the progress of those items. And then we serve as a staff liaison to City Council on matters pertaining to public art and report to the Economic Development Subcommittee also. So if there's, so for example, we have quarterly Economic Development Subcommittee meetings where we report on the progress toward our comprehensive economic development strategy, which I'll present to you later today. And one of the goals is to increase tourism in town. And a big part of tourism here is our amazing art that we have. And so we may provide updates from that happen in this commission setting to that subcommittee as well. And then also, we are really big on collecting and reporting on data related to the arts. So we have a tool that measures foot traffic in different public spaces. We can't measure private homes, but we can measure any place that is in the public or commercial property to tell you what the foot traffic is. So for example, for the Christmas parade, I was able to see an approximate number of visitors based on cell phone data. There were about 11,000 people, which was a spike in attendance for our downtown. And also later, my colleague Pedro, who you'll get to meet, will talk about an economic study related to the economic impact of the arts across the country.
So we can actually know how many people are in Esco Aliar?
Correct.
We can.
We can. And we can track the data going back several years, so we can see over a time period how the foot traffic in that particular area has increased over the years. We can come back with that information in a future meeting.
Awesome, okay.
I do have one more question. So that I don't break the law, I want to know, say the Escondido Expressions Committee wanted to get together. We ask you where we would meet and when?
Yeah. So you can contact us and say we'd like to put on a meeting, and then we can reserve a room for you, put that on the agenda, and then notice it to the public.
Okay.
How do you publish that?
So it's through the city clerk's office, similar to how we do this public art commission meeting. Yep.
That's it?
Yeah, so it's through, there's a platform that we use where we do a similar process for this art commission, where we write down the items that are to be discussed, and then they're published publicly online.
On the calendar?
Correct.
City calendar, okay.
Correct.
If I could add something, I'm glad to hear this, because I think one of the reasons why we were meeting offsite a lot of the times and whatnot was because we didn't have space here and access to staff, it seemed like. So, I mean, it's going to be, we're probably going to be tapping into your resources a lot, so I hope you're all ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Send an email to us, and we can definitely put things on the agenda. And oftentimes, it's helpful if there's a regular cadence. If you say, we want to meet every month, every other month, we can put those on the calendar and book a room way in advance and make sure we get that agenda published for you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And then the art project proposal process. So as we see in the code, we work together to establish a process. So we're at the stage right now where we need to form a publicly available application and a call for artists process. This will help alleviate burdens on both the commission and city staff in terms of processing. If, for example, we decided, and these are just examples, we haven't set anything in stone. If there was a call for artists twice a year or 3 times a year with specific requirements or things you wanted to see in the city or specific places, then that would allow you at the same time to have a fair and equitable process for evaluating any potential art piece in any medium across the city for funding. And so over the next several months, city staff will explore best practices from other cities close by and around the country. And then we'll present our progress during the March meeting. So I believe it's March 11th. We'll come back and let you know what we've found. And then we'll also explore potential partnerships with locally, fiscally responsible nonprofits. So if there is a nonprofit we should be working with, we'll explore what that might look like, but we'll bring you progress update in March for adoption in May. So it will take a little bit of time to put a process in place, but we want to make sure that there's an opportunity to have a conversation about that. And then the last thing I want to touch on is marketing and promotions. You all have approved some amazing art pieces, and there's some beautiful art around town, including our utility boxes. So our goal as city staff is every single time an art piece is completed, we will have a press release go out to all our media contacts through the city, and we will arrange a ribbon cutting with yourselves and also city council members to honor the project, the artist, and the funding source. To make sure that what happens here is celebrated throughout the community, and this is part of that education and celebration process that we saw in the code, the original intent of the Public Art Commission. And that is all I have for you. Do you have any additional questions or comments?
I do. I really am a strong proponent for educating children in schools. How can we include these ribbon cuttings so that they're aware that there's art that's going up and it's being recognized?
That's a great question. So that piece of input will help us as we get ready to do ribbon cuttings. We can make sure to reach out to the local schools, or if there's a particular staff liaison related to art at the schools you'd like to connect us with, we can reach out to them.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we on the agenda?
Thank you very much.
Escondido question?
Number,
Yep, number 4. What's that? Escondido.
You did a wonderful job of making all this information very clear in terms that I can understand. So thank you. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon again, commissioners. I am Robert Rose. I am the Assistant Director of Community Services, and I am here to present on Escondido Expressions, the Utility Box Pilot Program. So what we're going to do is we're going to, a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about the pilot program's history. We're going to talk about phase 1 implementation. We're going to talk about the financial impact. And we're also going to talk about the suggested changes to the program that the subcommittee has suggested. We're also going to talk about phase 2, and then we're also going to talk about phase 3. And then finally, your up to your vote for those implementation of those recommendations. So just to kind of quickly start off, in March of 2013, Commissioners Ryan and Paul proposed the Utility Box Pilot Program. And then on May 8th at the Public Arts Commission, you voted 6-0 with Commissioner Vargas absent to approve the pilot program and formation of the Escondido Expressions Subcommittee. The goal ultimately was to highlight a variety of different local artists, add art to our neighborhoods, and deter graffiti. One of the really great things about this program, just on a really quick side note, I worked for the city of Vista for prior to coming back to the city of Escondido, and they had a utility box program as well, and was incredibly popular. And I think this is an amazing program that we've started as a pilot. So let's talk. Yes.
I'm sorry, but Natalie Martinez was part of that as well. I didn't.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Natalie. So let's talk about phase 1. So phase 1, we started with 5 utility boxes that were completed. One of the artists was replaced at their request due to some time constraints and their inability to be able to produce the box in the period of time they were requesting. We do have one artist also that seemed to have taken an extended period of time. They apparently started the box back in November and completed it late December, I believe it was. Unfortunately, they have yet to complete the paperwork, but thankfully, just so you know, we did finally make contact with that artist, and it does seem as though they're going to be getting us their paperwork so we can pay them their final stipend. No graffiti has been reported on any of the boxes to date, which is amazing. It's great. And then our Public Works Department has not indicated any equipment degradation from those painted boxes. Now, please keep in mind when I say no degradation, we are in basically what is considered kind of the light or temperate months. So what they're going to be looking at is really running a program and doing more of a study over the course of summer. I know our previous summer was a relatively mild summer, and what they're looking for is to make sure that we still do not have any type of equipment degradation over the course of this coming summer. So that's what they're going to be heavily looking at. So, just really quick, I'd like to show you some of those completed boxes. We have artist Brenda Townsend. She painted the box on Valley Parkway and Center City Parkway. Which is really great, amazing looking box.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Honestly, all the boxes are great. I'm going to say that every time, by the way. Again, another incredible box by Cedar Covington at Valley and North Broadway. What I love about this one is the fact that it's right across from City Hall on the north east corner.
This is Suzanne Nicolaisen.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not really your fault, so don't feel bad about it.
Thank you.
Because somehow the box locations were switched.
Gotcha.
So that's
Okay.
why.
That's what I took it off of then. Okay. Well, then this is Suzanne Nicolaisen. What I still love about this box is right across from City Hall, and it includes the arch of City Hall and all the other things about it. So really an incredible piece. So, gosh. Okay. The next box is Christine Wood on Grand Avenue and Escondido Boulevard. Also a great box. I really like the white background here. It makes those flowers really pop off of that box.
Who's the artist?
Christine Wood.
Christine Wood.
And I did check with her, and she did prime it, I mean, not only prime it, but she did put a top coating twice on it, so that it's protected, and I went to all the boxes today and actually felt them.
Oh.
So, they look good.
Perfect. All right, the next box is from Mark Zane Kincaid, and that is at Grand Avenue and Juniper Street. This particular one was designed that way due to the proximity of the Tuesday Farmers Market. So very vibrant. I really love the colors on it, and it really kind of ties in on that corner, which is really nice. And this is not Suzanne Nicholson.
Cedar Covington.
Cedar Covington. This is a great box as well. Also right adjacent to City Hall on Valley Parkway and Maple Street. I love the white flowers on it. So it's really incredibly well done too. All right, so just quickly, the fiscal impact. Not a huge fiscal impact considering the funds that are available. The artist stipend was $300 that per particular artist. And then the city provided the paint primer, and we provided 3 gallons total to each of the artists. They all had to come in, grab that primer, they prime the boxes, and then return it back to us. So not a huge amount of money. All right, so now we're going to get to some of the suggestions that we've had from the subcommittee. So right now, they are suggesting an increase to the stipend, from $300 to $500. They are also suggesting to allow for a right to revoke the agreement if the completion exceeds 2 months from the original execution of the agreement, or any redesign exceeds 20% change from the original design. This, I'm assuming, has come about because of the one artist that took such an extended period of time to complete the work. So it just seems rather reasonable because previously there was no specific time frame within the agreement. So technically they could take as long as they wanted to. Shoring that up, I think, is a really smart move. Some additional suggested changes. The artist must use the city issued primer. We will put some process around that. And then also the artist may not advertise any business entity or venture on those boxes. The artist shall not add any copyright or trademarked symbols to the artwork. Now, one of the things that it does specifically state in the agreement is that once we have paid them, the city actually owns the use and the rights to that particular box, but we want to make sure that they completely understand that is not their box at that point. That is, the city does essentially own the rights to that particular box. And then lastly, the artist shall add a protective coating, as Commissioner Ryan has suggested, to guard against graffiti. So I think those are all great.
I have one question. So the artist's not adding, so does that mean they're not able to like sign their box?
Yeah, they do.
They
Well, they
can-
can sign their box.
Yeah.
That's no problem with signing their box. But what we do not want them to do is add any type of like copyrighted symbol, like because that would indicate that they own the rights to that box. They do not own the rights to that box. The city owns the rights to that box based on the agreement that we have with them.
You mean to the design on the box?
Correct.
Robert?
Yes.
I do need to add a really important factor. Being an artist myself, I understand weather and also extenuating circumstances get in the way of painting and completing a box.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, we're in and out of cold weather and also rain. And in the summer, temperature was a big issue. So that should, I believe, be added, that we do have extenuating circumstances that due to weather or other unforeseen events.
Absolutely, and I completely get that. I mean, because who would have thought, 4 years ago, we would be in the throes of a global pandemic? I don't think anybody ever thought of that. And so, when something like that occurs, then you have to kind of go with the flow. But I definitely think that would be reasonable.
Would you be able to add that?
I don't think that would be a problem.
Thank you.
All right. So let's talk about phase 2. Phase 2, what we're suggesting is adding 5 additional boxes to phase 2. So we want to continue with the pilot program. The locations would be 13th and Center City Parkway, 2nd Avenue and Center City Parkway, Bear Valley Parkway and Sunset Drive, Midway Drive and El Norte Parkway, and Escondido Boulevard at the Signature Pavilion, which is right across the street from the California Center for the Arts. I have chosen not to place any of the designs in this particular presentation. You have those with their applications in your packets, so you can take a look at those as you'd like to. But these those designs are not in this particular presentation today.
I'd like to make it known at this point with Alexandra's work, her artwork was already pre-approved on the last one. She had a job change and was unable.
She was the one that requested the change.
Right, had
Okay.
many conferences to go to, but her artwork was already approved. The location obviously is new to this, so we would be voting not on her artwork.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, and then finally, we're talking about phase 3. Phase 3, what we'd be looking at is that would be our full rollout phase, where we would work with the total number of boxes that we want to have painted throughout the course of the city. But prior to doing that, again, what we would be looking at is making sure that during summer 2024, that our Public Works Department is not seeing any type of degradation of any of the equipment that we are using. So once we receive that report, or the nice bit of thumbs up from them, we could go forward. So what we'll be looking at is sometime in that fall timeframe that potentially we would identify and conduct a call for artists. So what Jennifer talked about earlier in her previous presentation about identifying what those call for artists would look like, that's what we would rely on and move forward with a call for artists.
Wait, I just want to make sure I understand. So phase 2 are the next 5 boxes,
That's correct.
and that can be done in the springtime?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're asking is requesting that the Public Art Commission approve an extension of the Escondido Expressions Utility Box pilot program with the changes recommended by the subcommittee. So that's where we're at right now.
So we need a motion.
And
Any
I'm happy to
discussion,
take
by the
any
way?
questions that you might have.
Any discussions or any questions? No? So,
I do have a question. On the box, the artist can put their signature, but can they also put a contact from themselves on it?
That I would say no. That would, and I would have to check with our city attorney's office on that. But again, that would be more of like a self-promotion type of thing, and the city owns the rights to that design.
So, as I said earlier, I inspected all the boxes very closely. I even touched them. And I did see where there may be that situation that exists. And please let me know so that I can contact the artist and have them remove something.
Will do, for sure.
Can I ask why? I mean, I'm thinking as an artist promoting their work, I find it a little odd that they are not able to promote themselves. You know, like I think of an Instagram handle or something like that. I kind of want to know a little bit more as to the.
No, I disagree with that. An artist can sign their work. It's in Esco Alley Art, for instance, the artist signs their painting. We do provide a QR code that will take them to more information about the artist. And I think that one of the things that we are talking about as in our plan is that we will have a better presence of our art collection in this city. I don't know whether our plan will be to link to artist websites. I mean, there's some wonderful SEO that happens when you do that. But artists sign their work. They don't put their contact information on the work. I think that that's, it's not a magazine ad.
why not add a QR?
Well, I think that that's up to, that's something we would discuss in the future, right? How is it that we're cataloging our artwork as a city? How are we handling that? I think that's a whole big discussion.
Yes, and that was mentioned at the very beginning, that we are promoting art in our town. And right now, if somebody comes in town, they don't know where to find the art. And that's going to be critical for our growth. I just saw again in that small Escondido magazine that we were referred to again as the art city. So if we're going to be the art city, then we need to be prepared to let people know where the art is.
We do have a map,
Yeah,
an art map.
I don't know if it's updated though.
I don't
Here-
think it is.
There are several maps.
No, we do.
There are some maps of public art on the city website. Then the Downtown Business Association / Magic has created a map that includes murals in the downtown footprint. That's available on the DBA website. Again, I agree with you that we need to do a better job.
In promoting, yeah, I agree. Okay. Let's move on. I don't have the agenda.
I have one more question. Commissioner Terry, I can't remember your last name.
It's okay, I don't mind either.
Suggested a change to the language with regard to being able to revoke permission, take back our permission for someone to paint. I'm a little concerned about making that language too narrow. If you try and quantify, well, if there were extending circumstances, if the weather was hot, if the weather was this, I think that the language, the way it's written, is giving the commission the right to take a look at what happened and perhaps revoke. You just can't, you don't want to be too narrow, I don't think.
Okay, so you guys can recommend if that needs to be changed, the language.
You guys are actually going to vote to approve, right?
Yes, so let's-
Yeah,
let's-
so I guess.
So basically, we need a motion to approve that moving the stipend to 500 and approving the next 5 pieces that are coming up for the utility boxes. So do we have a motion? Anybody?
Motion.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Okay.
Oh, do you want to, you can make a public comment, sure. But do you want to, I'm sorry, do you want to come to the front? Thank you.
One of the artists.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julia Anthony. I am a professional artist. I've done murals at Escondido Public Library, both outside and inside, as well as the Oceanside Public Library, and a slew of, private commissions across the country. I have a question about the copyright. The copyright, are you referring to the copyright specifically to the electrical box itself or the artwork?
He said the artwork.
That's a good question, and I would have to rely on what our city attorney's office would recommend.
Okay, because it's always been my understanding, and I actually just Googled it again, it says, once a work of art is sold, the physical object no longer belongs to you, but the underlying copyright still does and always will. So someone else cannot claim copyright of an artist's artwork. I'm not sure if the artist would say, yes, you have my permission to claim that copyright, but I believe that copyright is always belonging to the artist. So I think clarification of that in your wording might be a good thing.
Yeah, thank you,
So
Julie.
I just wasn't sure if it was in regard to the box itself or the artwork.
I would have to check with our city attorney's
Good.
office on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think really what are we driving at, who has license to use the images?
Essentially.
We are saying a question mark, because I noticed in the application it says, I agree to abide by the guidelines and procedures established by the city of Escondido. Again, I'm going to go to Esco LER just because those are the contracts that I've been involved in primarily. We, in the Esco LER group, in that contract, gave the artist permission to reproduce that image for their own profit. We owned the painting and could sell it. but they could use the imagery. And it all goes to whatever the legal agreement is, because you are the artist, but a specific image can be sold and the rights to it transferred.
We'll definitely need to check with the city
Yeah,
attorney's
and it's
office before we make any of those specific changes to the agreement. And we'll share with the commission what the city attorney's legal interpretation is of that specific item prior to moving forward.
Thank you. So do we move forward with voting? Do we have a second?
So is there a motion?
We
One,
made a motion.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor for that.
Wait a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, and
Sorry. Sorry,
you have to refresh.
Yeah, mine does not show any of this.
Mine is not open. Voting's not open yet. The old
Yep.
one just did aye, that was it.
My screen's completely different. It's like not even.
Yeah, mine is not open.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
Where do we need to?
All right, all right.
Press that. All right,
Refresh. There you go.
agenda, so we did.
Second?
No, mine was all.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now, now it's all published and showing, so it's approved 7-0.
Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now, we're good.
We are done then with item 4 on the agenda, and economic development presentation by Jennifer, I believe.
Hello, Commissioners. Jennifer Shunek, Director of Economic Development for the City of Escondido, and with me is my colleague Pedro Cardenas.
Hello, Commissioners. Good evening. My name is Pedro Cardenas, and I work in economic development as a management analyst.
So with the shift of staffing for the Art Commission to Economic Development, I wanted to provide this presentation to add some context as to why it's relevant to what happens at the Art Commission. So in this presentation, we'll be reviewing the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, otherwise known as the CEDS, and also the Arts and Economic Prosperity Study. It's the 6th year nationally that study has happened, so it's referred to as AEP6. And this is some data and information relevant to the entire city, and you play a great role in these studies, and they play a great role in what happens with the arts. So we'll look at the process and the outcomes of the CEDS, and also the process and the outcomes for AEP6. So first of all, what is the CEDS? So every 5 years, the City of Escondido Economic Development Team updates the CEDS. And it is a document that uses data and community feedback to create policy and activity priorities for a 5-year time frame. The document must be adopted by City Council and then filed with a federal government agency, the EDA. And we have information about this on our website. So City Council adopted our CEDS this last July, so this is an active document that sets city priorities for economic development. So I wanted to establish what it is and what it isn't. So it's a tool to help understand the city's current economic conditions, a few of which I will talk about in this presentation. It's a focused strategy on what can move the city's economy in a direction to improve quality of life. It's also a framework to engage the community. It's a mechanism to help secure federal and state funds to move our community forward. And it's also an interdepartmental strategy for city staff to get on board with. It's aligned with the city's general plan and specific plans. We also took a look at things like the library strategic plan and other documents that the city is currently employing for decision making. And it's a document that requires collaboration with nonprofits and business organizations for success. The document is not a list of everything that the Economic Development Department does, and it's not just a plan for city staff to implement, it's a community tool. And it is really a task-oriented document as well. I provided to each of you a printed and bound copy that's easy to take with you so you can use it as a tool. Serena, do they each have those? Thank you. So what was the process for creating this document? So we had 7 community meetings, 105 meeting participants, 128 survey responses, and some of the organizations that we worked with are on this list. And there were some key data findings. So here are strengths and challenges. So really we went into the community and we asked people, what do you love about Escondido? What could be improved to help our economy and the city become a better place to live, work, and play? Through the data and through community feedback, really we found that the city's natural beauty, its resilient workforce, and its relative affordability and its central location make Escondido a really great place to live, work, and play. We do have some challenges though as a city. We have declining population, which is concerning because other cities around us are growing. We have low educational attainment, which impacts our future workforce and the potential earnings of our citizens. We have a net jobs deficit, meaning that more people who live here go outside of the city to work than stay here. We have an outdated general plan, which we learned it costs about $3 million to update a general plan. And we also have slow housing permitting, so that impacts population growth rates. So a couple of things I wanted to touch on from that summary. One, we do have our declining population. So really, we say that growth was too hot before 1990, and then it's been too slow since. I included Proposition S on here because it's something that comes up as a question with City Council and members of the community. Proposition S limits the rezoning of single-family housing areas. So you can't put multifamily or duplexes on single-family zoned areas, whereas other cities allow that. So it kind of had some relevance to the declining growth rates, but it started a little bit before then as well. And then, of course, our general fund budget. So our city's too dependent right now on one-time transfers and not enough on the natural growth and development. So an economy can flourish when people have good jobs, they take their money and they reinvest it into the local community, and that's what helps a local community flourish. Our high dependency on other labor markets, so as I mentioned, people who live here have to drive outside of their city to get jobs. That creates this commuter mismatch. And the only jobs that we have here where we actually bring in workers are in the areas of construction, retail, and healthcare. Healthcare, of those three, healthcare provides the highest wage jobs. And then there are these other areas where there are potential high-wage jobs, but people are leaving the city to go get those jobs. So this indicates an opportunity for us to attract these businesses to town so that people who live here can also work here. And what we see in our declining population is really a declining young population. So our fastest growing age group is 75 to 79. And then we see our fastest declining age cohort as 25 to 29, so that represents kind of the younger workforce. And then also under the age of 5. So that indicates that young families are either not staying in Escondido or they're moving outside of Escondido. And all of these are concerning signs for our local economy because we want wage earners to stay here to help our economy keep going and growing. And then we have a relatively lower socioeconomic status compared to other cities in the region. So we have lower levels of income, wages, and human capital, and higher levels of poverty. So it's just something to keep in mind compared to other areas. So what does all this data mean? Those were just some key data points. There's much more in the whole report that you can take a look through. But based on the data we looked at and also our community feedback, with the consultants we work with called Beacon Economics, they're an economist group that we found through a request for proposal process. We created 4 fundamentals in our action plan and also 3 areas of focus. So first I'll address the fundamentals. One is to really balance the population growth rates. Council adopted a set growth rate of about 3%. So faster than it's been, but not as fast as it was in the 90s. Two, the idea of creating more economic opportunities. How can we attract more jobs for people who work here to potentially attract more people to move here as well? The third one is to actively maximize the value of land in the city of Escondido for housing and for jobs. And the fourth is intentional placemaking and marketing. And that's another area where our commission can have a pivotal role. What we heard in our community feedback sessions is that people love Escondido, but we need to get better about getting the word out. So when we were talking about marketing our art pieces and all of the amazing things of this city, I think there's a big role our commission can play there. So then the three thematic areas, these are the fundamental things we want to work toward, but how are we going to get there? These are the strategies to get there. So the first is streamlined industry targeting. So in economics, we know that when you bring together like companies, there's a tendency for more to gather. That's why we see the Torrey Pines Mesa, for example, a bunch of biotech companies. One goes there, a couple go there, they all go there because they share talent, they share resources. And so the clusters we're focused on here in Escondido really capitalize on our historical strengths and also in areas where we're seeing a lot of growth. The first is agriculture and agriculture technology. The county of San Diego has the most number of small farms of any county in the entire United States. That makes us a hotbed for testing and innovation. We also have a very engaged farmer network. This is where the San Diego Farm Bureau is. So that is a very promising area for us. We also have clean tech as a focus. We have many companies in town that already focus on this, such as Baker Electric Solar. We have several solar companies in town. We also have the largest power plant through SDG&E in North County. There are tens of thousands of homes powered by the Palomar electrical facility right here. And they're going to be testing things like hydrogen, electricity, and also storage of electricity as well. So we're at the forefront of that here locally. And then the third is tourism. That really focuses on arts and culture, food and beverage, and sports tourism. And this arts and culture piece is really, really huge. There's so much art happening here all the time. We really need to capitalize on that. The second area is to promote technology entrepreneurship and early stage fabrication companies. So this is the idea of get entrepreneurs here. Show that Escondido is a great place to come and have your startup. We are already seeing companies that are being pushed out of the markets from Serrano Valley and Rancho Bernardo up, and they find themselves in Escondido, which is great for us, so we want to figure out how to retain them. They usually provide really high-wage jobs. And then this third thematic area is to create a downtown destination district, and this has a lot of overlap with the arts. So really we want to figure out how to retain, attract, and grow businesses and encourage more housing opportunities downtown. We see that we have a high vacancy rate downtown. We're seeing more businesses leave. And this has been an ongoing problem ever since the downtown specific plan was created. So we really need to pivot our strategy there and figure out what can we do differently, because what we've been doing hasn't been working.
Yes, and we need to move fast.
Yes. So that's a quick overview of what the SEDS is. I'm always happy to answer any questions, but I'll turn it over to my colleague Pedro to talk about the Arts and Economic Prosperity 6th National Study.
Can I have a question, or should we wait until he's done?
Go ahead and ask your questions about the SEDS now, and then we'll transition it to Pedro.
So retaining and attracting businesses is one big problem that we have, and just today I found out 2 businesses might be leaving downtown and move to another city. So if your department, because I think this is part of your department, right? What can you guys do about it?
Great question. So there are many different economic strategies. One is the industry clustering. But when we talk about areas like Grand Avenue specifically, what we're really talking about is who owns the land and who controls the land and who is selecting tenants. And what is happening with rent at those properties. So what we're seeing in downtown, for example, is a high number of absentee property owners that are increasing rent. We see a high number of properties in 2nd, 3rd generation trusts with absentee property owners as well. And then we see a high number of property owners that are imposing higher rents and they're imposing tenant improvements on their tenants. So currently there's no incentive for them to lease out the property. I also know of several property owners that are holding their properties as speculative properties. So they believe the value will go up when Palomar Heights is finished with construction, and they are currently writing those properties off as a loss on their entire property portfolio because it's just one of many. So what we have looked at with the Economic Development Subcommittee, so the mayor and Councilmember Garcia sits on that, is one potential strategy is actually a vacancy ordinance for commercial property, which is a requirement for property owners once their property becomes vacant to register it. And a fee will be associated with that until the property is filled. Because right now we have properties that sit vacant for a prolonged period of time. So we're looking at measures like that to discourage vacant properties, because that's a pretty unique problem that we have on Grand Avenue. And then of course, we work with brokers to try to recruit the types of businesses that we want. We just got a new business on Grand Avenue, S3 Coffee Bar. They opened on the 6th. They had a grand opening and the line was all the way down the street. So we hope that it will be very successful. It's a second location for this family-run business. So visit if you have a chance.
And advertisement is a big issue. I mean, people don't know what we have. So it's a huge issue there. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I hope I'm not off track on this, but I do agree with that, not renting out properties and holding on to them. I think we probably all anticipated that Palomar Heights would draw that type of decision. But my biggest problem is where I park and who's around my surroundings, because twice now I've had said things that aren't appropriate to me as I've gotten out of my car.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, taking some pictures and seeing the art, there were people tented right next to the poppies, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a big issue in our town, and I think we have to address that issue first before we can start looking for growth. That's my opinion.
That's a great point. And two comments on that. One, the mayor and city council are going to be considering a homeless ordinance soon. So if you have opinions on that, when you see it on the agenda, or if you talk to a council member, email your opinions to them, or if you have an opportunity to either speak or write in a comment to city council, please do so. And then the second item I have is, anytime you see something that is unsafe, please alert the police department, even if it's just one call to the non-emergency line, because it actually creates a data point that allows for hotspots, and then the police will create more dedicated resources to particular areas. We have also explored the idea of security in certain areas. So Oceanside has a property benefit improvement district that funds private security for the areas around the hotel, and they've expanded it to the Oceanside Harbor, and it's been very successful. So that's something else we're hoping to explore in the future.
Even playing classical music makes a big difference.
And
Believe it or not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we done with the report?
And then I'll pass it over to my colleague Pedro to talk about the economic impact of the art study.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Again, my name is Pedro Cardenas, and today I'll be sharing the findings of the Arts and Economic Prosperity 6 national study. I'll refer to it going forward as the AEP 6 study. So I'll start with what the AEP 6 study is. And it was an economic and social impact analysis of the nation's nonprofit arts and culture industry. So this survey was conducted throughout the U.S. and within the U.S. territories, and the city of Escondido's Economic Development Department headed our portion of that here locally. So what this is, it's a snapshot taken from over 450 audience intercept surveys, so actual surveys that folks who were attending art events took the time to sit down and actually write down some data about their visit, plus 8 different participating nonprofits who were willing to share their visitor data as well as their revenues from 2022. So I'll share some of the good news that these studies have found. And here are the top takeaways. Again, this is a 50-page report, so I'll be giving you a high overview of that, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to share the full report with you as well. So our main point, one of the first main points here is that the nonprofit arts and culture industry are an economic driver. So really the large findings of this study is that in the city of Escondido specifically, that this sector generated $1.6 million in economic activity during 2022. It's huge.
Yeah.
So breaking that down a bit, $428,540 of that was spending by arts and cultural organizations specifically, and additionally, on top of that, there was $1.1 million in spending in event-related expenditures by their audiences. So these are the people that were attending art events. And I'll clarify what those events were. I mean, there were anything from museums, art galleries on Grand Avenue, nonprofit festivals that involved arts and culture, plays, musicals, anything that happened in Escondido where people were willing to take the survey, that's where this data is coming from. So the expenditures that we're talking about supported approximately 27 jobs and provided $1.2 million in personal income to residents and generated around $451,000 in tax revenue to local, state, and federal, up and down across the board. So really what we're seeing here is that this study is bringing a welcome message, is that one, when you invest in the arts and culture, you're investing in an industry that actually strengthens the economy that you live in and builds more livable communities. So really, these findings are going hand in hand with the goals of what Jennifer just laid out in our sets. Moving on to the next point that I'd like to share is that nonprofit arts and organizations are businesses, and we should consider them as such. So, for example, in the city of Escondido, the nonprofit arts and culture organizations spent an estimated $428,540. And that supported approximately 12 jobs and generated $242,141 in local, state, and federal government revenue. Now, this sample is taken from just 8 organizations that took the survey. We definitely have more than 8 art and culture nonprofit organizations in Escondido, so again, this is just a snapshot of those participating organizations. The next point I want to share is that the arts and culture drive commerce to local businesses. So overall in the city of Escondido, attendees who attended arts and culture events spent approximately $36.25 per person per event. And that is beyond the cost of admission, so this includes anything from having dinner, transportation, getting drinks after, childcare, transportation, parking, everything that they spent in order to come and participate in that art activity. So really, these dollars that were spent are a vital income for the local merchants that we have here and are a value add, which really few industries can compete with. The next point I'd like to cover is that the arts and culture strengthens the visitor economy. So in the city of Escondido, 7% of the attendees were non-local visitors who traveled from outside of San Diego County. The people who visited from outside of San Diego County actually spent 3 times more than their local counterparts. So, and additionally, 71% of those non-local attendees reported that the primary purpose of their visit was specifically to attend that performance, event, or exhibit, venue or facility where they were surveyed. So really what we're seeing is that these art events, these culture events are driving people to come visit Escondido. I thought that was really interesting to share. So moving on to our next high-level point that I'd like to share is that the arts and culture keeps local residents. So when attendees were asked what they would have done if that event were somewhere else, if that event were not available here in the city of Escondido, more than half of those attendees who live in San Diego County so that they would have traveled to a different community to attend a similar arts or cultural activity. So there really is that desire that where people want to come out and they want to patron these types of events. So it's really, really great. Wrapping up with my last point of this Arts and Economic Prosperity Survey is that the arts and culture contribute to community pride. So at the end of the surveys that people were participating in, there was also that last part that had a sentiment about how they felt about the specific event. Here are the numbers. So 84% of the arts and culture attendees agreed that that activity or that venue where they were surveyed was inspiring a sense of pride in their neighborhood or community. 80% of those participants agreed that they would have felt a great sense of loss if that activity or venue were no longer available within their community. And 75% of those people also agreed that the venue or facility where they were surveyed was an important pillar of them to their community. So to wrap up what the findings were here, the AEP6 study sent a strong signal that even in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have to remember this information was taken in 2022, just off the heels of when regulations were relaxed and the resulting small recession that followed, that the nonprofit arts and culture is a formidable industry here in Escondido. And the study demonstrates that when we support the arts, that we're investing in Escondido's economic and community well-being. So, I'll be definitely championing and sharing this information with our community. It's something we should celebrate, it's something that we should be very proud of, and I just want to share that information with you.
Very nice. Thank you. That's great news. I think we kind of seen it in person, right? When we have the Center for the Arts, and we have Escoali Art, and when we have the second Tuesday, and we have, good job. This is good to see it, because we've seen it, and people have come from far away to come to different events and spend money here. So we need to have restaurants in our downtown that are good and not be losing business, so.
Especially near the Arts Center.
Yeah.
We need to have restaurants that they can walk safely from the restaurant or
Yes.
afterwards and enjoy an event.
Yeah, the Center for the Arts is a big attraction. All right, so are we done with item 5, right, of the agenda?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great information. May I ask
Yes.
a question?
Yes.
Perhaps I missed something really big.
Okay.
I may not have. On page 21, we have the next 5 candidates for electric boxes. Did we vote on those individually?
We
Or-
voted to approve.
Right, but did we actually look at the work individually? I don't remember seeing it.
We mentioned the names of each of the artists that are coming up,
Okay.
and we had the photo here.
No,
We did.
no, the photos were just in our packets and they
Oh,
were not
I see.
shown.
We never saw them on the screen. And
For
I
the
think
for the public.
for the public, I think that that's something we need to do according to protocol. And I feel very strongly that we do that before we leave this meeting.
We have 2 artists here. I totally thought we saw them on the
Well-
screen.
But then if we had, we still didn't vote.
We voted on passing the whole thing, approving the 5 boxes.
Oh.
For the second, yeah, we did.
But did we show them?
So,
No.
a couple of things on process. So one, if you want to right now, you can vote, Serena, correct me if I'm wrong, you can vote to appeal the vote, and she can explain that process. But what I would like to add is there is a subcommittee, an expression subcommittee, that can meet, and the idea would be in the future, they would meet, review the applications, and provide the recommendation to this group. And so then the group would just approve or deny that entire package of recommendation from the subcommittee. And the subcommittee would be the opportunity for the artists, for the public to come and give their input. And that would be the purpose of that advisory subcommittee to this group.
And
Right.
I'm sorry,
Which-
the item though on, that we voted on, is specifically it says, approve an extension of the Escondido Expressions Utility Box Pilot Program with changes recommended by the subcommittee. It's not having anything to do with your applications or voting on anything. At least that's not what's like on here.
And that's what I saw.
So, I mean, my recommendation, so I don't know, that's,
I understood that the extension was actually approving the next stage.
Oh, you
Which is
did?
the next 5 boxes. Do we want to make it clear, maybe?
Yes, can we make it clear?
Yes.
And also, the public didn't get, we have 2 artists here that are part of the 5 boxes. So, what do you want to do?
but are you saying you don't want to vote for those 5 boxes?
I thought we already did. That's what, when we said we approve an extension to the program.
So you can do, I mean, if you want to include that, that's fine too. I thought you were saying you want to put those up and that you want to,
I just want to make sure
just wanna
that
make
we leave here tonight.
well, the packet is available publicly. So this is posted online and available publicly 72 hours in advance. The public can see it, these photos are available. So if you're concerned that we haven't shown that
Now,
tonight,
remember, this is just a recording, an audio.
Yeah.
It's not visual, so nobody, except for the
Right.
public. If the public wants to see it,
but it's also, I have a packet here which I'm more than willing to show. I have 3 extra.
And the public can always submit a public comments slip during any item to comment before an item is approved. And so I can ask a point of clarification. In the expression subcommittee, this was the recommendation of the subcommittee? Okay.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Great.
And that's what I,
know that this is what we recommended and it came
Think-
with our total approval.
And do
Okay,
you want, and I
so-
would recommend in the future too, if you'd like the photos to be included in the presentation, that's something that we would ask. You know what I mean? Like, so those weren't on the presentation, but they're in the packet.
Yes, so moving forward, we can include the pictures of the submitted artwork.
Yes.
And also in the future, we will need to notice them in the paper before approval as well. So
Also-
we'll have a new process moving forward after this evening.
I also think the motions need to be clear, very clear. Like, we didn't say that. We said approve item, whatever. And,
Yeah, it's just
yeah, instead of saying, anyway, so.
Okay, so they are all approved and 2 artists are here and their work is lovely.
Yes, we congratulate you,
Yeah.
artists.
at the packet if anybody wants to shoot a photo.
At the
Thank you for
end,
the clarification.
at the end of the agenda, you can, subcommittee and commissioners update, maybe. You can add something. All right, so we're done with item 5. Public Art Master Plan project status. I'm really excited to see where we are because we spent quite a bit of money on this and we haven't seen anything yet. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Commissioners. Jennifer Schenek, Director of Economic Development, once again. Thankfully, the next 2 presentations are very short. So I wanted to give you an update on where we're at with the master plan because you have put so much time into it and because the community has invested so much time into this process as well. So a quick overview and next steps. So in July of 2022 was when the consultant was hired, RMM, and the work really started at the beginning of 2023 to complete the public art master plan that included public outreach, the creation of a report, as well as the GIS mapping of current art pieces that we can put that into a publicly available map online. Currently, there's a draft. So we have a first draft of the public art master plan that needs to be reviewed and completed. This process kind of stalled, and so I would like to recommend that the Public Art Commission form a subcommittee, a working group subcommittee for the Public Art Master Plan with a subcommittee of 2 or 3 members of the commission to work with staff to complete the Public Art Master Plan. So we would meet on a regular basis from now until, I think it's going to take until May, to review the draft that has been proposed by the consultant, make changes, and complete the process.
So are you saying they already made a plan and we're just reviewing their plan? Or are you asking us to make our own plan?
So the consultants have created a draft, so
Yes.
we need to work with them to finalize the draft.
Okay.
I would love to be in that committee.
To be on that committee also.
Great. And I believe the chair appoints the committee members.
Okay, 3 of them.
Yes,
And
2 or 3.
do we need to do that tonight? Appointing people?
That'd be a recommendation, so we can start getting to work on it.
We, as a commission, are not going to see what they've done so far, because this, I believe, RMM was hired 2 years ago. It would be nice to know what they've done so far.
Yes, so
Right.
with the committee, we'll send out the draft for review, and then we'll have a meeting to discuss next steps and create a work plan to finish it with them.
So they wouldn't come forward to this commission and present what they've done so far.
I recommend they do not come and present the draft. As staff, I have reviewed the draft and I find it insufficient.
Oh.
So I recommend that we form a committee to create something that the art commission will be proud of.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Do you still have to pay the full amount for an insufficient master plan?
It will be sufficient when we work with them to complete it. The draft is insufficient currently. So I think it has really great elements, but I want the subcommittee to be able to be involved in the work plan to produce a product that you're proud of. So the subcommittee will work with staff to finish a plan that can be presented formally by the consultant to the art commission. And then once the art commission approves it, then it will go to city council for final approval.
So,
There's not going to be additional charges from them to make it sufficient? Is there a clause in there that said that they can't?
So in your packet, I included the contract with them. So they are obligated within the amount of money to produce every item on that in the contract. So we're looking, we had a meeting with them today. We'll have, as staff, we'll have another meeting with them in a couple of weeks here to understand what's required to complete the project. So we're looking to have them complete the project with the amount of money that's left in the contract.
what? Go ahead.
I mean, my personal opinion is, we hired these folks to produce something, and I think as a commission, we should be able to see what they've produced so far, and then make the determination whether or not we step in and help them figure it out, which I find very interesting considering we paid that much to have them do this.
Yeah, the other option is that you can just entrust it to city staff, and I can work with them to change the report, to make it what I deem as sufficient, and then they can present it. So we can forego the subcommittee, but it is an opportunity to bring in more voices, but if you'd rather, staff can work to complete it ourselves.
No, I don't think he's saying that.
I'm not saying forego the subcommittee. I think that this would be a good idea, but I think as a whole commission, we should be able to see what they have so far.
Basically, a progress report.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years, and I don't know how the contract was, but I'm assuming they have been paid a certain amount of money,
Correct.
and it would be nice to know what they've done.
Yeah.
Even though it's a draft that's insufficient, well, let's see the insufficiency, and then move forward with the subcommittee. And I think I would like to be, well, no, I can't. Anybody else?
Well, you had 2 volunteers so far.
Like I said, I think we should wait until we see what we see, and then maybe at that meeting, put it on the agenda as far as forming that subcommittee.
Okay. Can we do that?
Yes, we can do that. So we can put it on the agenda for the March meeting.
Yes.
And
To
then-
have them.
Between now and then, city staff can work on that, or we can wait until you form the subcommittee.
I'm thinking that it would be nice to see what they've done. What, you're putting more work on your shoulders, but we're paying them. Let's see what they've done. I mean, we were really impressed with these people when they presented and applied for that. Come on, show what you've done.
Sounds good. We can agendize that for the March.
If it's insufficient, it'll be obvious then, right? I mean, we'll see it. So we'll put it for the next agenda, if they can come, and then we can form the subcommittee at the time, if we feel that, yeah. And I'm all for it, because it would have input from community members, so that's the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great.
So I don't know where we are in the packet right now. I mean, I'm totally lost. Does anybody know what page we are? Or we're just not following this?
We don't have to motion for
No, I
that.
have the agenda.
7.
Where are we?
7.
Vina, do they need to make a motion to push it to the future agenda?
No.
Okay.
We have,
You
No.
weren't voting on anything, so I just have it being, yeah,
No, we don't need to vote, right? No.
So now you're on you're on the playground update, right? The great.
Yeah, so we are.
Is this really a good idea to put this off? I mean, I think that our economic development manager probably has a pretty good idea of what's insufficient. And if we put this off for 2 more meetings, we're not going to have a plan for a year.
One more meeting.
No, it's going to be 2 more. Because you're going to have them come and present something that's insufficient, and then we're going to have to get a subcommittee, and we won't be working on this thing before May.
I think my intent by asking for that is so we can all see what's going on. Otherwise, we're going,
They produced.
we're only, it's going to be a couple of us that are going to be able to see what they produced, and I think it'll allow for more input.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see it too, before we move on. If it's, I believe, I mean, I trust your opinion. I want to see it with my own eyes, I think. What do you think?
I trust your opinion, Jennifer. I agree with Carol. If it's insufficient, it's insufficient. I mean, we're just filling in the holes, right?
That's basically what they're saying.
You can also provide the report to the commissioners that Jennifer has, if you want to see that and review that. It's totally up to you guys. You can also appoint your subcommittee right now and then still see the information next meeting. You don't wait for 3 more months or 2 more. You can also do a special meeting.
We could always do a special meeting too.
Yes.
I agree that having a subcommittee right now appointed is good, and we don't have to wait 2 months to have a subcommittee. So we'll keep delaying. And having a subcommittee right now isn't going to hurt. And we
Right.
can move forward.
And it's a great idea, I mean, to share the report with the
Right.
entire commission, because then you guys will have read it by the time the subcommittee, everyone would have read it by the time the subcommittee comes with recommendations. I think that's a great way to move forward.
And then we can all review it and discuss it as a body and come up with recommendations. And by then, changes hopefully will be made that are sufficient enough so that we won't get caught in committee for 4
Yeah.
more months, 6 more months.
My only concern is that we will never see the product of this group.
As Serena mentioned, what we can do is I can email the draft to the commission. And then as the subcommittee, we could provide direction for completion and then come back in March with progress between the draft that you've seen, and in March there can be further discussion with the whole group. I can also invite the consultant so that the commission can give the consultant input on the draft that we have once we get to March. So I anticipate changes to the draft between now and March. So that we
I'd be okay with
It's
that.
an excellent,
Yeah.
that's an excellent idea.
No,
But
I personally would like to see them what they've done. I really do. Now, not after you have put work and we have put work. I mean, we committed $82,000 to this group, and they had 2 years.
Wait, weren't you saying you were going to email us what they've done?
Correct. I can email
Yeah,
you what
if
they've
that-
done,
is-
and then we can even hold a special meeting before March where they can present and you can provide direction, because as we listed the duties from the municipal code, it's in your purview to advise and direct consultants, and this is one of the major consulting groups that you have.
Yes, and they work with the city in other projects, right? So I would be agreeing with that, but I still would like them to present.
You can also make,
Yes,
you can also vote on forming the commission tonight. Like, your responsibility as a chair is to appoint the members. You can make a motion, second that, vote on whether you want to form the committee tonight, then you can decide if you'd like to appoint the members. That can happen too. So I just want all the options to be on the table since these questions have been raised. And then I'll leave it up to staff and the commission.
one of the possibilities you mentioned would be a special meeting for them to present between now and the March one, so we could do it in February.
Correct.
Why can't we have that meeting, have them present? at that moment and then form the commission. What would be different if we formed the commission tonight? How different would that be? Or what would be the advantage? Let's put it that way, Jennifer. What would be the advantage of forming the subcommittee tonight
So I think
without seeing anything?
correct. So the intention of the subcommittee is to make sure that there are a few commissioners that have the ability to really dig into that report with staff to make it something that you can all be proud of. We can work through it all as a group. It just seems there's some efficiencies there when it's a smaller group that can provide recommendations to the entire committee, but we can still email it to the entire committee. So usually, for example, with our code, so with the city council, we develop municipal code for adoption. We work through that with a subcommittee so that the two members feel comfortable before it goes to the entire council. So that allows the public to hear a presentation that you're all proud of, because oftentimes if what we present, if the consultant were to come and present a draft, if you're not happy with that, it turns into a fight at the dais with the consultant sometimes, or with the public. When really, if you had the opportunity to review a draft, or if we had some more working sessions with a subcommittee, there could have been something presented to the public that you all had the opportunity to feel a little bit more proud of, because you know what your expectations are. So the intention is to really bring something forward publicly that you're all proud of. If we bring a rough draft that none of you would like, then we run the risk of disappointing the public. So that's some of the staff logic behind having a subcommittee to vet some of these ideas before it comes to the art commission.
But we would still get to look at it by email.
I can still send it to the entire commission, correct?
And I'm actually very comfortable with the two people that volunteered. They both have business backgrounds. And I think they have a good eye at seeing things that need to be changed. I think it would save us time.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, Anne-Marie, it's been over 2 years and we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, and it would have been nice to see it.
Correct. Correct.
It would have been nice to actually present.
Correct. But I personally feel that the subcommittees will move things along faster.
In a way, what I'm thinking is this. So here we have this project that we gave them 2 years ago. And you are telling us, and I believe you, that it's insufficient. And that subcommittee is going to make sure that it becomes what we want. But don't we need to make it public that after 2 years, they produced something that was insufficient? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't the public know that or not?
Jennifer, I'd just like to make one comment here.
Can you answer that? Because I'm actually...
So part of that process is this meeting tonight. I think this is giving notice that the staff has found that the report draft submitted is insufficient. And so my recommendation is to form a subcommittee to finish the process. And so what's great about the subcommittees is that the public can attend those as well, and hear some of the input from the subcommittee members also before it comes to the full commission.
I'd like to just relate one thing. We had a bathroom done once by a subcontractor, and it was insufficient, for lack of a better word. And I would never invite him back, but it would have been, I saw the results. If we see what it is, I just think we're inviting chaos.
May I ask who else would be on that subcommittee from the city?
So you'll have your staff liaisons in us for the subcommittee, and then any member of the public can attend. So the subcommittee actually consists of 2 or 3 commissioners, and you'll have your staff liaison present, but we're not technically on the committee.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. This is more work for us. All right. Do you want to vote on this? I mean, come up with a motion by saying that we form the whatever the name of this organization is, doesn't have to come to present, and we will move forward with a subcommittee and
Well, I
What?
also believe that we should get copies that you said you could give us. Yes, so that's very good, and so I make a motion, we move forward with the subcommittee.
I can also clarify from the clerk's office, any member of the public at any time can ask for this report or ask for public documents. Our office releases them. So if somebody listened to this meeting and wanted that particular document or more information, our office would provide that to them. Just in case you're wondering, well, tonight, that wasn't part of whatever you would like to see. So they have that option too.
okay. I'm not happy, but it's okay. So do we need to make a motion? Or?
Well, it's really, yeah, I mean, yeah.
You're the one appointing.
Anybody can make a motion to form this commission tonight.
We don't have to do it tonight, or we should.
Well, you can make a
How do you
motion
guys
to,
feel? Do
if
you want to go ahead and do it tonight?
I just want to clarify that by making the motion to the subcommittee, we're not dismissing them from the insufficient work that was completed. I see it more so as we're getting a head start on drafting something better. So I do think it would save us some time to form that subcommittee and get those meetings started. And we're all going to see the draft in the end at the same time. So
And the public will know this. You know, when you don't make it public in a meeting like this, unless they request it, they'll never know. So they'll see the end piece with the committee work. But for $82,000, I think the public needs to know that it was insufficient. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's what
That's
irking me
what is
the most
hurting us,
is,
is that.
It's been 2 years, and,
Yeah.
and it sounds like we're doing their work now.
Yeah.
So
So
it
this
feels
committee,
very-
this subcommittee will have to finish it.
And this is really the first discussion we've had.
We have
this
never
way.
heard anything. from
So
them.
this is really the first time that we're hearing that the contract is, or the plan is insufficient. But now we're on notice that it is, so we need to move forward.
Yeah, I just want to explain more of the emotion here, is that we were put off from a lot of things. Well, you've got to wait till the master plan is done. You know, that we heard that a lot, so.
And on my personal note, I was out of the country, and they called a special meeting to approve this particular thing. And when I went to the city manager, it was supposed to be an emergency to approve it. And I could never understand what was the emergency to approving that, but we did. And now look at what we have, insufficient. It hurts me, you know. I'm sorry, it hurts. Okay, so let's move forward then with.
Are you going to form, like, if you're going to form it and you're comfortable appointing, you can go ahead and appoint your 3 members.
So we have 2 volunteers right now from we have Patricia and Carol.
No.
Did it say 2 or 3?
It can be 2 or 3, so a minimum of 2, maximum of 3.
Can we form a commission, a subcommittee right now and then accept an extra one if that person wanted to? Because I mean, I kind of want to, but I'm so committed already to so much work that, you know, I don't know if I can do it.
Okay. Do you want to just commit, Commissioner?
So let's name, okay, so Carol Rogers would be part of that commission, subcommittee, I'm sorry, and Patricia Mans. I would put my name as a possible. I am trying to get rid of things. Really? Well, if you go, then
No, it's possible.
okay, let's just put those tentative, yeah. I don't want more meetings, but this is important.
So if you want to,
So we
you
need,
want to appoint somebody at the next meeting, you're more than welcome to appoint, just.
do we need to make a motion for this?
No, because it's already on there. We just were saying that if you guys want to kind of,
All right,
you're,
okay. All right, so let's move on to the Grape Day Park playground update.
Jennifer Shenik, Director of Economic Development. They teach us at City Council meetings we need to introduce ourselves for every item, so it's a great idea. So this is a short one as well, but I did want to bring it to your attention. This is an item that I'd like to make you aware of before we go to City Council. So I'll tell you a brief history of Vinehenge, the current state of the park, and the next steps, and I'd like your feedback. So Vinehenge is a functional art piece that was constructed to serve as a playground in Grape Day Park. It was created and constructed by Nancy Moran and Valerie Salatino of NatureWorks in 2004. Their plaque is in front of the playground. The project was funded by the City of Escondido Public Art Development Impact Fees through the Public Art Commission, and that's on the plaque as well. So I think it warranted a presentation to the Public Art Commission before going to City Council to receive your input. So really the current state of the park is that it has deteriorated to a state where it is unsafe for children to play on and for the public to use. So there is currently a fence around the playground. A consultant was hired to evaluate the playground and found several critical areas unsafe. That's why the fence is currently around it. So our current challenge is that there are no funds available for repairs of the structure. So the Public Art Commission funds from development impact fees are only for the creation of new things, not for repairs. And that leaves us in a challenging situation. So I wanted to make you aware of the process we're going through to evaluate what happens to this piece next. So city staff is working with the original artist to determine the cost of replacing or repairing the structure to safety standards. And these aren't safety standards that we make up. There is a special governing body of individuals that creates these regulations for playgrounds. We're lucky enough to have a certified playground expert on city staff. And city staff is working also with playground manufacturers at the same time to determine the cost of removing the art piece and building a new, what we call a tot lot, a playground for younger children in the park. So we're in the process of evaluating what those costs are, and then those options will be brought to City Council for final approval because it deals with a safety issue for the park. So I wanted to make you aware of what's happening with that art piece playground and receive your input and feedback on that piece.
Okay.
And the last part of it is here are the options that we're looking at. So 1, original artist repairs the structure, brings it to current code standards. 2, phased original artist repairs that include an immediate removal of some structures and upgrades to others to make it safe. And then the third option is to remove it completely and replace with a standard playground structure. That standard playground structure, we are working with playground equipment producers, and there are options that do allude to arts, and we could design a playground with a playground producer that has similar elements to it, like a bunch of grapes, for example. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question because if I understood correctly, if it's repaired, then it's going to come from a city budget somewhere, not from us. But if we create an art project and call for our artists to, then we could finance that.
Correct.
Right? And I have seen amazing playgrounds done by artists with cement, and I have pictures of them. So if the the estimate from the artist is high, and the city doesn't have the money as we hear, then we are in a deficit, right? Then one venue would be for us to call for artists to propose something and make it an artistic and fantastic thing, and we can finance it.
I have a,
right? Would that be a possibility, right?
I have just an observation. I believe across the street is the Children's Discovery Museum. And of course, their whole emphasis is working with younger children that play on play structures. Has the city asked them for input on what type of play structure that they have seen or heard of that works well with children? And would they be interested in helping with funding it? Since a lot of their children, I've seen them walk from the museum directly across the street.
That's a great question, and
So
the
they-
Children's Museum is a great resource. So they have not been consulted in this matter. So far, we have been looking at safety standards, and we're just starting the conversation with the Art Commission and then City Council on the direction they want to go.
Yeah, we could have a really creative park there and make it one more attraction to Escondido. And it's right in Great Day Park, so it's in our downtown. So
Right, and you know children demand things. And they'll go, Mommy and Daddy, I want to go back to that wonderful place.
exactly. So
And
let's
so
look into that.
it could be an attraction, and that's what we're looking for, is attractions to bring people to Escondido.
Yes.
And so Discovery Museum is an attraction, but then staying longer and then getting hungry for lunch is also a situation that would bring some tax money to Escondido.
Any more comments? All right, let's move to number 8, mural proposal. Untitled, I don't know why. We actually saw this already at the mural subcommittee. I thought it had a name. No? A title?
Wait a minute. The mural proposal?
Yeah, this is the phase.
Yeah, but it's untitled, right? See?
I called Charlie and I asked him if he wanted to think of a name, and he was going to contact. So
Yeah, he's going through some emergency situations. So we can call it that.
Maybe Untitled is a name.
So we listed it on the staff report as untitled simply because we did not have a current name of the artwork. So that's why it's listed as currently as untitled.
we can think of one for sure.
Presentation, or excuse me, this is an item that was a holdover from your previous meeting that you chose to move this to the current meeting we are having right now because you wanted the full commission available to have the conversation to be able to vote on it to move forward. So that's where we're at right now. I do not have a presentation for you. You have the information in the packet there.
Is this the only copy that we're provided with? Because
Where is that?
they changed it.
Where's the copy? What page?
Is it
The last
end,
page.
the very end.
That is the only copy that we have. So I'm not aware of any changes to the
Yeah.
artwork.
Could we ask one of the artists?
Unless that is the actual updated copy.
No, it's not.
This is not.
Could we ask the artist that's here now?
Yes, could we?
Absolutely.
What,
Remember how we
could
loved
you come forward and
your,
look
yes.
at your copy?
It's not the updated one, right?
We made a newer version.
Yes.
This project is, although it's me and Charlie, is kind of Charlie's, I let him take lead on it. I designed it, we go back and forth. He has the actual final
Updated.
copy. I got an email from you the other day. I called him immediately,
Yeah.
and he was going, I haven't heard from him since, so I'm not sure if he
Yeah,
has,
so-
maybe he has something going on.
Yeah, so his mother's in the hospital, had a transplant, a liver transplant. So it was big, it was nothing, but none of the copies that we receive is, so basically, so the public knows, the mural subcommittee already saw this. We actually had a conversation, and the design was changed, and we were going to recommend approval, but based on the fact that they were bringing for everybody a copy and so
Oh,
on.
Maria, I believe I have both of the
Yep.
copies.
I have a little update too.
So is that that's not the update?
I think this is the
No.
update.
No, it isn't. None of those are the updates.
Okay,
No.
then I don't have it.
No, we don't have them. Because,
Yeah.
We took some, remember the last meeting, you cut the pictures?
Yes,
and we
that's
put them
what I-
over? That was what we did.
Yeah.
That's what this-
And you changed, you took out the color.
Yeah, the colors for the.
Yeah.
So pretty much we had designed it basically at the last meeting, redesigned it,
Right.
this is not,
but he has the actual copy.
I don't feel that, I mean, we already, as a subcommittee, we were going to refer it to be approved, but we don't have really a final rendering
But he's saying that is the final. that
Well,
we did was-
maybe it's not exact. I just want to
It's
explain.
not exact, but it's very close.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you probably want to see the exact one, but
Zane, I'd probably throw a little, I'm a big fan of yours, you know that. And I know that my comment on this was, why are we doing it? This looks like a beauty shop mural, and what if a dog ownership went in there or something like that? I mean, it just, the one that was on there before was what they had put on there.
no, we did that too.
Well, okay, well, it was not done by the public.
No, yeah, we just did it on our own.
Yes, exactly. So, but I know that you and I had talked about a very visible one that you had in mind for the bail bonds.
That's on a whole nother building.
It's definitely, it's up on Grand Avenue, and I mean, to me, the reason, this just looks like a
If I could give you a
commercial.
gist of how this came about, when we did the original painting, maybe like 10 years ago, we didn't even know about this stuff. We were just doing it on our own. We just did it for free.
Sure.
We just did it.
A lot of people.
That wall is coming apart. It looks kind of, it's not looking good because it's old. And at the time, we didn't know what we know now, artistically and stuff. So the thought process, that mural is so popular, the thought process was, let's do something similar, but an updated, like more technical and something that grabs you and you go, whoa, like, wow, it's not just the same old thing. So that's how that came about. And we tried to stick with the same sort of color palette, the same imagery, but just updated. So when people see it, they're wow. Also, when the reason that it's a girl with flowers is it's a hair salon. So when we went to that lady, we asked her, hey, you got these really great walls. Is it cool if we paint something on here? That wasn't our original idea. She said, if it has something that kind of goes with girls, because I'm a hair salon, yeah, go ahead, like that. It was just sort of like that. And we said, well, hey, we'll put a girl's face with some flowers. And so that's how that came about.
And really quick, I'll interject here with a process note. So in the future, we'll have the subcommittee, we'll have staff there. Staff will get the final
Yes.
approved version. We'll put the approved version in the packet.
Exactly.
We'll present it to Public Art Commission. The artists will have their 3 minutes time to respond or give comment, and then you can vote. So for this particular meeting, since we're evolving toward process, what I would suggest is, because this is something that was reviewed by the subcommittee and is coming as a recommendation from the subcommittee, if you all trust your subcommittee members to have the final version, then you can approve it tonight. Or if you would like to table this until we have a final version, we can always come back for a special meeting or present it back in March.
On a side note, since me and Charlie have both done many murals around town,
That's right.
like you're saying, if you trust us, we're not going to let you down for sure, instead of waiting until another meeting, which is.
Yeah, and it will be the last time that this will happen. It's happened before.
Yeah.
But, no more like, it's going to look great. I know it's going to look great,
Yeah.
but we cannot just...
Sometimes it doesn't always work out. Yeah.
So, and this is a high visibility wall, by the way. If you're driving up on 2nd, it's a very nice visible wall. But I just want to add a couple of things. So the next time we meet, staff will be part of the subcommittee for murals. And we want to start calling artists to refer projects from now on. So it'll be some competition. What else? Something else I had in my mind is gone. But could you guys submit the final?
He actually has it.
Yeah, he
So
told
I
me.
told him to call you specifically. 'Cause I
He
know
did,
he's
he did, but
work.
he didn't give me
So I don't
any
know why that
visuals.
didn't happen. If he would have called me, I would have had it.
So can you ask him to send us an
Definitely,
email so that
definitely.
we all receive the final thing? And how do you feel about voting on this? By the way, there's no, you know what, there's not even money here. Where's the
It was
funding?
all the paperwork right here with
It's
the
on
last
the other page.
On what page?
All the other information's there.
I do have just one comment.
Where's the, no, this
With Palomar Heights coming in, that's going to bring a lot of extra business and hopefully residents to Escondido, because housing is expensive, and Escondido still has housing that's somewhat affordable. I think a new mural like you are proposing is really important to have an upscale, more modern look, because it is very highly visible. How fast can he email you that?
Right now, he
I
seems.
say I could call him right now, but I can go outside and call him right now.
Serena, is it possible?
But,
Is it possible for them to make a motion pending the receipt of the final being in alignment with what was approved for the subcommittee?
Well, we also have an issue with the amount of money. It was less than 20,000. So how does the commission feel about $20,000? It was less, the mural, it was 18. We said let's bring it down to a close 19 or 18, something like that. Because this is a remake of a mural. Think about that.
Since it was already discussed in the mural committee, can I make a motion to approve whatever was discussed in that meeting?
That's what I was going to clarify, you guys.
Which
are
was
for-
19,000, yeah.
Like, so if you already said this is the final version, that's the version that's being voted on, whether or not the version in the packet's not the correct one.
No, and the amount of money is 19 instead of 20.
And 19?
Instead of 20.
So-
Yeah, we did.
I make a motion to approve this mural with whatever was discussed whatever changes were discussed at the mural subcommittee.
Okay.
We call it the Roses mural.
There you go.
And then is there a second?
So we need
Second it.
second.
Could you name it?
Sorry.
The roses.
we will have a name for sure. I didn't even know Charlie's mom, if you know, him and his mom are very close. So I don't want to bother them if it's super serious, like they're really close, so. But we will get a name for sure, and it will be something very, we'll put some thought into it. It won't just be, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I open the voting, and then I have Vargas's motion and the second by.
Can I clarify? What is the final amount that we're, 19,000?
19.
I didn't hear you say you agree with that.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Our mural committee did.
Did he get there?
Okay. Done. And then,
We're not
thank
done
you. So
voting
we
yet.
are voting,
We're
right?
not voting yet.
Oh,
Sorry, it's a little slow with the, so,
I will do it here.
and then I think I have everybody, so let's see.
I heard.
Oh, wait,
Okay. So we have a majority.
did you not? Okay, let me refresh it for you, okay. Can you do it now?
It's not taking you? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so now,
Hand raising is.
there we go. So we've approved 6-0, or sorry, 6-1, and it's Commissioner Spando.
Alrighty, so it's approved.
You guys.
All right, let's move forward. What time is it?
Thanks, Amy.
We are-
6:32.
Oh my goodness. So liaison report, is it going to be, I hope, short, but then we,
Good afternoon. Now actually evening. So again, my name is Robert Rose. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Services. I have some quick liaison updates for you. I wanted to share with you the last time you had asked about Tamales Jovita's mural. The daughter of the building owner has dropped off the power of attorney paperwork to our city attorney's office. So the building owner is not in a position to be able to do and conduct all the work that they need to do, and so the daughter now has power of attorney. She's dropped that information off to our city attorney's office so that they understand and know she can start moving that process forward. So that's where we are with the Tamales Jovita mural.
Brenda, yeah, the Maple Plaza. Oh, that is wonderful. Okay.
The next update I have for you is the Palomar mural. All of the legal teams between the City of Escondido and the Palomar College district has actually agreed in all of the legal terms that we need to for an agreement. The agreement itself will be going to the Board of Directors on February 13th for approval. Once that has been done for their approval, they will sign it, they will send it back to the city, we will sign it, and then we will inform the artist that they can essentially move forward. So by the time we hit your next meeting in March,
That is
we should
exciting.
have some really great movement for you.
And this is a major piece. You guys,
Absolutely.
you seen it? Have you seen it?
I have.
It's marvelous. And
Do
the-
we do we have a date when that Palomar meeting is going to happen?
February 13th.
February 13th.
13th. Okay.
So by March 11 is, I think, is ours, we will have already that. And the artists are waiting, you know, the designer and the painters are like, okay,
Yeah.
let's move
Sometimes the legal process, especially between two very public, very large entities, takes a long time to kind of negotiate what that looks like.
forward. We started 2 years ago.
I also believe we probably have spring break coming up, which would be a great opportunity not to have students on campus, and that should be a goal.
But,
I think that'll be up to the artists and the
Yeah.
college on how they schedule that.
not where it's located at all. It's not a high-density college by any means. Yeah. Thank you, that was great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, future.
We have a couple more items.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
No.
I do have a financial report here, which I'll be sharing with all of the commissioners. That includes the funds that you oversee as far as how much money is available in them, so I'll pass this out very shortly. While I'm doing that, Jennifer's going to provide an update on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, okay, I thought we were not going to talk.
I didn't want to neglect the request
Right.
to discuss that item, so I wanted to provide an update. So the city clerk's office is actually working with the city council on policies that would affect all commissions, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be one of those items. So there will be future direction from the city council on that item.
May I just make one more comment? I would like to thank these two artists for our Escondido's expressions for staying for the whole meeting. I know you had another purpose too, but I really appreciate your artwork, and it's making our city beautiful, and it's really close to my heart, so thank you very much.
Agreed.
In agreement. So this is important, so we've done, Mr. Rhodes, with that?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Can I ask for the next time we see, make it a little bigger for some of us? Just maybe put it horizontally, the way we used to do it, and then have it an enlarged, like the old format.
Yeah, not a problem.
Formatting is
I'll
a
make sure.
formatting issue.
Just how it happened to print out.
Yeah, so this is important because this is for the next meeting agenda. We, Grand Avenue Art Project. So look at the amount, and this tells you a little bit about, So the updates regarding to the programs that we already have are going, Robert, will we always have updates, or do we need to put it on the agenda?
We'll always have an update for
So I don't need to say an update on Palomar, an update on the two that we mentioned.
I'll make sure that whatever art piece we're working on, if it's not Sorry. I will make sure whatever art piece we're currently working on, if it's not agendized, I will be doing it in the liaison report.
So it'll be included all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
The artwork between Charlie and Zane now, going forward, that will now be in my liaison report. I'll be able to provide you an update with that. I'll also provide you the update with Jovitas Tamales, as well as the Palomar College mural, too. Okay?
Okay, the only other thing was in the public art funds, that Queen Califia event space is gone. The money for that.
I'm sorry, the which?
In the last report, it's Queen Califia event space, $835,000. That's not on there.
What?
That may have been an ARPA-funded project that was reapportioned.
By,
Can you clarify? I mean, just so we know.
I will ask for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get some clarification from City Council. So with the use of federal ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act dollars, City Council approved original uses for those funds, and there's a strict timeline to dedicate those funds. So some projects that hadn't been moving forward, City Council voted to take the funds and put them back into the pool of money for other projects. The next time City Council is going to be considering ARPA funds and future uses, from my understanding, it's on the agenda for January 31st. And Robert and I can get further updates and clarification on funds.
Okay. Yeah, there are some things that are missing here, and I don't have my folder with me, so
Well,
I can't compare. Do you have the old one, the old budget? I just wanted to add that for the next one, I would like to address art education. It's one of the areas that we have not done anything at all. And Queen Califia Education has 27,000, but we have, let me see, I thought we had a public art, no, the last one, yeah. No, I thought we had education as a separate item. Is this the last one? January 31st. I believe we had education as part of our, it's one of our duties, and we haven't done much. So we only have money, and so let's discuss that at the next meeting. How about that? That'll be an issue. Okay, anything else anybody wants to add to the agenda?
for the next meeting?
Yes, this is we're doing right at the future agenda items.
Would this be the place, or would it be at the mural committee meeting,
We-
subcommittee meeting, to make policy?
We can, okay, the mural committee, the mural policy will be also coming to the next meeting. And we will need to meet as a subcommittee, so we need to talk with you, Robert, and where do we need to meet? Does it have to be in a public place? Like, I mean, does it have to be here? It has to be here.
We can clarify with the city clerk. We need to make sure it's someplace that's accessible to the public. So usually subcommittees are at City Hall so that it's easy for the public to locate. We can verify if they all need to be on.
Yeah, could you let us know? Because we have a place to meet and it's a school. It's a middle school, right?
No.
High school. It's a high school. Del Dios. Del Lago.
Yeah, we'll verify since it's
Del Lago High School.
Since it's city public business, we'll verify if it needs to be on city public property.
And there's not a problem, except just some of the members of that committee have to make it on time, and they teaching, and so they have to make it here on time. So then it would be mural policy.
And to clarify, the subcommittee consists of the commissioners. So there's no official committee members that are not commissioners.
That's right.
So subcommittees of commissions, just like subcommittees of council, are only comprised of the people that sit on the commission. There can be participants from the public that attend, like we have public participants.
Okay. So they can be part of the, yeah.
Participants.
Meaning they're sitting in the audience, they're not part of your agenda discussion. It's just like this. So they're not communicating back and forth with you guys. The subcommittee has the same roles as a Brown After everything.
So they could not be part of it. It would not be an interactive.
Correct. They can submit public comment on any one of the agenda items.
Yeah, this is really taking a lot of, we want it to be something fluid participation from the public, and this is changing.
So that would have to be something that's not a city subcommittee. If you guys are like, oh, 2 of you, 3 of you want to meet with a citizen or form your own, that's totally separate. Then having a subcommittee through the city of the Public Arts Commission, completely different.
You're welcome to have coffee or lunch whenever you want.
Right.
But if it's a subcommittee of the Art Commission, then it is public business that needs to be recorded and available to the public.
So no decisions can be made on
Correct. There's no decisions, but there can be
It's
recommendations.
recommendations, that we've known that from the beginning.
Yeah, but the recommendations can only be made by the 3 commissioners.
Right, but with input from the public. Okay. Alrighty, anything else that anybody wants to, we can add items to the agenda later on as they come, and we would be referring them to you, Robert?
We can only add items to the future agenda from commissioners at this meeting. So,
No, we were told we
What did
could
you
do
say?
it.
We have a standing item at the last, sorry, it's hard to follow if you guys are still on liaison reports or subcommittee commissions or future agenda. We haven't been on these.
I'm so sorry.
It's totally okay.
I
I
think-
just want to make sure we're still on liaison reports.
I thought.
So even though you're talking about future agenda items, you're more than welcome. But there is a section that will be on every single meeting agenda for you guys to put on. So we're going to get there. You're just going to have to let us know again.
Okay,
So just to clarify, so I'm going to, if you guys are still on liaison reports.
we're finished with our report.
Okay, so I'm going to switch it now to
Liaison.
subcommittee and commissioner updates. So Chair Velasco, this is when you kind of guys go through. So this is up to you to call.
on the committee,
Yes.
the subcommittee.
Sorry.
So the expressions, would you like to say, because I thought we addressed it already, but if you would like to add to that?
Actually, I have nothing to add because we're moving forward so nicely. I don't want to add anything. but-
Good.
So thank you.
And you guys did a beautiful, put a nice, wonderful packet with all the images, so it's all there, we voted on it. The mural subcommittee only, and this is a question, the 3 of us attended. We want to work at the next one on the policy, and that's it. It will take work, we will have staff there to guide us through the process. And if it has to be an open to the public, go ahead. That's fine. We can hear some oral communications, but that is basically where we want to go. So we don't have any more conflicts in the future. All right, future agenda item.
I have a question regarding subcommittees. Is there a Queen Calafia
Yes.
subcommittee? I've never heard an update. And I realize I'm just a commissioner today,
No, but
but
you've
I've been in
been,
the audience.
right.
I've never heard an update. I'm curious, do we get those?
We usually have an update for the Queen. There's really nothing to report, so I didn't mention it before.
And to clarify, who are the commissioners that sit on that subcommittee?
Marty, myself and Marty Tiedemann, but she's not a commissioner.
Okay, so we would need to appoint a second commissioner to have that be a subcommittee. So would we like to put on the future agenda the appointing of
Yes, please.
a second commissioner so that we can have a subcommittee for the Queen Calafia?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can add that to future agenda. But we're not there yet, right, Serena? We're still on subcommittee reports, so we'll add it.
We keep
During the
jumping
next
from
one.
item. I'm so sorry. I think it would help if we have number 9, number 10, number 11. You know, the 4 things at the end of the commission.
I just emailed to ask if we could put that on Unicode so we can see up there item numbers.
Yeah.
So I did.
Thank you,
Literally
because
at this
it
meeting,
became
I
a
put
big-
that. So hopefully they'll be able to put that on.
Definitely.
Because I don't have it for any of the meetings, so I did put that request in.
Thank you. That would help. So, where are we? Future agenda items?
Are you done with this?
Still
finance committee?
Yeah, subcommittee and commissioner updates too, right? Isn't that the?
Yes, I have Commissioner Ryan, sorry, nothing. And then Commissioner Velasco, the mural subcommittee. Commissioner Rogers asking about that, but I don't know if there's anything from, yeah, no, I was so sorry, Commissioner Span, do you have any updates on anything? So we missed a few
Yeah, we have to.
opportunities, we have to go down the line.
No.
No, just in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, right? We have to go from
No,
commissioner.
you can have none. Don't
Oh,
have to
okay.
say anything, just say none. Usually, yeah, you just go down the line. You don't have to
None.
say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I have something to say. I feel like I know I was absent the last couple of meetings. My apologies for that. Some things came up. But I feel like there's a whole new energy
Yeah.
happening, not to knock the last administration or anything, but they did a good job but I really like how organized you all
Have a nice team.
And, this is a very thorough report from you all, so I'm actually really excited to continue and to continue working together. So
Yeah, feels like a
Yes.
team, yeah, and we have support. It feels
we
good.
appreciate you. I appreciate you.
I echo that sentiment. I already had a subcommittee meeting with the new staff, and the transition between staffs was super smooth, and I really appreciated all of the structure to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where are we now?
I'm going to say thank you, because I passed the first time. Thank you.
Yes, from all of us. Future agenda items, can I move? I'm afraid to do anything.
Commissioner Rogers had anything, I know she's new, but do you have an update on anything?
I know, I'm too new.
Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the future.
Okay, so we have Queen Califia, education, mural policy so far. Anybody else? Anything else?
From the new guy over here. I wonder if we could talk about meeting once a month. Could that
You
be
can
a
put that-
future agenda item?
Yeah, that would be a future agenda, and then we can discuss it and see how we feel about that. There was something here. Oh, you said something, Jennifer, that we cannot add items to the agenda unless it's right now? I never heard of that before. Because things will come up.
So I'll go ahead and speak to it.
Yeah.
She said there is a new regime. And we're trying to streamline all of the boards and commissions, just like the council. So you've seen the changes of the staff reports and the agenda formatting, just kind of how things are going and moving on. So everybody has a future agenda, they usually put them on. That's not to be said that you can't send something to your team and ask if it can go on, but the regular rules and procedures are that yes, this is future agenda items need to be submitted right here so the public can see, oh, this is on, and then it goes into the notes and the minutes, and then they know what's coming. Again, you're more than welcome to email your staff at any time to put something on the agenda after that. I realize it's every 2 months. To answer your question, yes, you can discuss having meetings once a month. You can just revise your bylaws. It's not like a big deal. So whatever you guys decide. But that being said, I know it's a little bit of a change, but especially with you guys, yeah, there are going to be a lot of changes, and it's unfortunately rules and regulations that we don't make up. They're state, federal, we just abide by them. So if there's any procedural or kind of, you can always email Zach directly. He's more than willing to talk to anybody. I know he's not with everybody, so let me know if I didn't answer any questions. And I'm more than happy to stay after the meeting to talk about anything too. So.
Yeah, I am a bit confused because I've talked to a council person, and that person said, yeah, we can add things to the agenda at the beginning. We can add, yeah.
Oh, the council meetings? But council has policies and procedures that are put into place with deadlines and stuff that's totally separate. So if a council member is telling you, they might be able to do that, but that's different than policies and procedures for the boards and commissions.
Okay.
But I can I'll ask Doug about that too.
So would we have to request an update on Great Day Park, or was that decided that was already going to happen on the play equipment?
I can provide an update on that. We can include it in the liaison report.
Great, and is that a possibility to check with the Discovery Museum? Is that something that we need to say publicly right now to you?
So that is something that we will take into consideration. If we're going to get input from one entity, we should make it a public process so that we can get equal input from all entities that have an interest in the park. So we try to make sure we included a process, a way to make it fair for input from all entities. So if the city council decides to move the direction of wanting a specific type of playground, then we can go through a process so that they can provide input.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Last item. oral communications. We have 3 members of the community here. And is the procedure for oral communication, they have to sign a paper before,
You
prior
don't have
to
to.
that? No?
Honestly, no. You need to come to the podium, speak, and identify yourself. I can't require you to fill out a form.
Okay. This is-
I mean, it'd be lovely if you do. It's not like easier when I'm trying to start it in. But we can't require that, but you can if you want.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it then. Time to adjourn. What time is it?
6:53.
6:54.
Oh, sorry, 6:54.
Thank you so much. This was a huge long, it's not going to happen again, right?